made fun of some girl's body odor? What kind of a question is that? Is it wrong to make fun of this girl's BO? Are we that far gone? Like, have we fallen that far as humans that that's an actual question? Oh, I made fun of this girl for smelling bad, and I don't know if that was wrong of me or not. What? Okay, I guess let's see how you try to convince me. Happy apple picking day! Just some quick reminders for all of our friends. If you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And just a reminder, we all come from different branches of the apple tree. And what that means is that we all have different lives and different experiences. And those experiences are gonna shape our boundaries, how we internalize situations, the details that we get stuck on in the different stories. Like, that's all unique to us. And we just kind of keep that in mind as we discuss down in the comments. There are gonna be some parts of the stories that seem very important to me that some of you guys might think, those are minor details. And there are gonna be some things that you guys think are the most important part of the stories that to me, I'm like, I don't think it changes much. And that's just human nature. I see it in the comments every week. Well, she just went right by this. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I miss stuff. Sometimes I don't think it changes things. And you guys might have very similar opinions, or you might have very different opinions. And that's just how people work. And we practice constructive communication down in the comments. So, without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for pressuring my ex to give up their parental rights? I, 29 female, am engaged to my fiance, 26 male, and have a 5-year-old daughter, H, with my ex, P, 28 female. P is currently transitioning and taking hormones, becoming a woman. For a while, P lived with H for about 6 months after we separated, but before that, P basically stopped parenting H. During that time, I was still very active in H's life, making sure she had everything that she needed, at least one parent to parent her. About a month ago, H came to live with me and my fiance full time. Since then, P hasn't called at all, hasn't made any effort to spend time with H, and when H visited her grandparents, P's parents, P basically ignored her. Today, my fiance found out that P moved away. I mean, she literally left the state without telling anyone, including H. P didn't even tell H goodbye. Originally, I wasn't going to pursue child support because I just wanted H to have both parents involved and have a good co-parenting relationship, and money wasn't my priority. But after P disappeared without notice and just left, I changed my mind. Even P said, I thought we weren't filing for child support, which was true before she moved out of state, but I gave her a choice. Either pay child support and stay involved in H's life, or terminate your parental rights. P said she would rather terminate her rights. All right. Now, my fiance says that I was setting a boundary, but a mutual friend said that it was cold and wrong to give that ultimatum. I feel like I'm just protecting my daughter and making sure P takes responsibility one way or another, but now I'm not so sure. Am I the bad apple? Okay, listen, I'm gonna say a couple things that I think will definitely hurt some people's feelings, but this is just my opinion based on the experience that I have. And as y'all know, as we always know, I don't have kids, so I definitely look for like the parents to comment and like let me know their thoughts, because especially like if there's a situation where I don't have experience, I'm gonna have an opinion, but it's not an opinion based on anything that I've experienced, right? So I'm definitely like willing to listen to the people who do have that experience. So first thing, when it comes to people who make the choice to have children, right? And like custody issues in general, I don't really care about the feelings of the parents. Like I care, but like not enough to make a decision about parental feelings. My decisions in regards to like those custody things, or my opinions on custody things, is really gonna be about the best interest of the kids. I'm sorry, parent feelings don't really factor into that for me. And that's just from my experience as like a former teacher. I'm sorry. Your feelings are not as important as what's best for a child, period. Second thing that I think a lot of people are going to be, not everyone, but like some people are definitely gonna have their feelings hurt. As a white woman, I think it's very important for me to be able to like use my privilege when it's needed to speak up for groups that aren't necessarily heard as often, or like people don't look out for their voices, right? Like we do what we can to, you know, like I think that's important. I also think that it's very important to address the fact that there are some white women who do a little too much and end up creating an issue where there isn't one. So like this story, I'll give you two examples. One is this story, one is something that I saw just on TikTok the other day, right? In this story, you have one mutual friend who, I'm gonna say this right now, that's not a mutual friend because that person is not your friend. Not your friend and doesn't have the best interest of your daughter at heart. I'm sorry, I'm just letting you know that. You have a mutual friend that's like, oh, this is so unfair, this situation is blah, 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 not okay, blah, 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 all the things, right? Who is it not fair to? Because your ex isn't giving you a bad time about how unfair. They're like, oh, this is the choice that I'm gonna make. And your daughter, consistency is good for a kid, right? The parent's either gonna be there or the parent's not gonna be there. Or like, let's say, I know some people are gonna be like, what about people who their parents work a lot or are deployed? There's a difference between like, hey, mommy or daddy or parent is gonna be gone for XYZ and they're coming back on this date, don't worry. Like, it's very different than, when is Pete coming back? I don't know. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe in 10 years, maybe never, I don't know. Like, that's not good for a kid. Because 5-year-olds, they don't understand, they don't know what's going on. They just know that one day parent is here, one day parent isn't here. When are they coming back? No one knows, no one has any idea, can't talk to them. Like, it's not good for kids. If you're gonna be that inconsistent, I think that it's better for you to just not be around, personally. So like this decision, this ultimatum that you're giving, like who is actually upset about it? The mutual friend. Susan, this isn't your family. This isn't your business. What do you do? Like, you're not in this. Who cares if you don't like the decision? Who cares if you don't like it? This has nothing to do with you. The two parents that it impacts are good. They're like, okay, here's the situation, here's the choice. All right, here's my choices. All right, have a great life. Support you, do what you need to do. Just don't impact this kid anymore. Cool. What? I feel like mutual friend saw the situation and saw, well, you're putting this marginalized person in a bad spot. First of all, they made the decisions that they made. What? Second of all, when did this marginalized person say this is an unfair situation? They didn't. Like, why are you involving yourself in creating an issue when there isn't one? Like, the issue was P's being a bad parent. Period. Point blank. Like, just because they are a marginalized person does not mean that being a deadbeat parent is okay. I'm sorry. It's just not. And I know that there's going to be some people, most likely probably children, that don't have like adult experience that say, oh, well, when people transition, they typically like to like leave their past lives behind. I'm sorry, but when you make the decision to have a child, I don't think you have that luxury to just do that. I still think that's wrong. You brought a person into this world. They didn't ask to be born. You're their parent. Either parent them or don't. And P decided to just not. Okay. They made their decision, but you don't get to cause emotional trauma for a kid just because you were doing what's best for yourself. Like, great that you are feeling that you can now like be who you want to be. That doesn't give you the right to do that to a child. So either be a parent or don't. I agree with this mom's decision to give that ultimatum. Mutual friend is just creating a hate crime out of nothing. You know what I mean? Like, even the other day, I was scrolling on TikTok, right? And I saw this woman, and she made this video that was like, I feel very strongly that Black women are so good at like body self-care that they should totally, like, there should be a class in schools where beautiful Black women teach middle school girls how to take care of their bodies and like how to, you know, clean themselves and like lotion, like they always smell so good. And she's so right. Like, how do y'all smell good all the time? I want to know your secrets. You're so good at self-care. I don't know how you smell good so much, but I want to know. I would take that class in a heartbeat, man. I would go back into teaching just to sit in that class on my planning period. So true. And I thought all of those thoughts while I watched this video, and then I scrolled on. And then like 2 days later, I saw the same video stitched by that woman, like the same woman stitching her own video and then adding disclaimers. Hey, a lot of people were like really upset in the comment section. I want to be clear. I obviously meant to like employ these beautiful Black women and like pay them, and you know, only if they want to, like obviously not force them. And I was confused because I was like, I got concerned that maybe I missed something that was offensive in the original video, and I was like, oh my God, did I miss something? So I went to the comments, and like all the comments were these like Black women that were like, girl, we knew what you meant the first time. Like, you're good. You didn't need all this. We understood. No one thought you meant force us to X, Y. Like, no one thought that. And then I went back to the original video. Most of the people calling this woman like offensive, telling her that she was being offensive and racist, were white women. Just like deciding to get offended for Black women in a situation where Black women, at least in the comment section, were like, oh my God, I'm honored you think I smell good. And like, to be clear, this is not me speaking for anyone. This is just based on the reactions that I saw and that I was reading and that I was looking at, and that it was really people like Mutual Friend who were just like making a really big issue out of nothing, like getting offended on behalf of marginalized groups that weren't offended to begin with. It was very strange. And so like that's what I mean. Like, that's what I'm feeling here. That was a really long explanation. I'm going good apple, period. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for refusing to take my shoes off into my friend's house? I, 38 male, was invited to a D&D session with 4 other people at my friend Alex's house, 34 male. When I got there, his wife answered the door and immediately asked me to take my shoes off because they have a strict no shoes policy due to them having a crawling baby. I explained that I have a medical condition called epidermolysis bullosa simplex, EBS, which makes the skin on my feet extremely fragile. Even mild friction or pressure can cause painful blisters or tears, so I have to wear supportive shoes with cushioned orthopedic insoles at all times, even indoors. Walking barefoot or just in socks causes me pain and can lead to bleeding. She suggested I put grocery bags or socks on over my shoes, but I told her that's unsafe for walking and honestly, just insulting. She said she can't compromise her baby's health for my comfort, and when Alex came to the door, he told me to just deal with it for a couple hours. I said no, and he said, well, then you're not welcome inside. I told him I wasn't gonna risk injuring myself over a D&D session, and if my shoes were gonna be that big of an issue, I'd just respectfully leave. As I walked back to my car, I overheard his wife telling the other guests that were already there that the night was off because I made a huge scene at the door. Later, I got a group text from Alex saying that he was canceling D&D night because it's not fair to expect everyone else to pretend that nothing happened. Some mutual friends say that I overreacted and that I could have just sucked it up, while others think Alex and his wife were ridiculous for ruining everyone else's plans just because I decided not to stay. So, am I the bad apple? I'm gonna give you my ruling because I already know what I'm gonna say, but like give me a second to explain, because I know that some people are gonna like immediately, what? Hold on, give me a second. I'm going a bad batch personally for a lot of reasons, and I'm gonna give you each one. First of all, if you have a medical condition where like you have to at all times wear shoes, like you're how old are you? You're 38 years old. You're telling me at 38 years old, you've never encountered people who don't like people to wear shoes in their home? Never in your life. Like even my mom, she doesn't have that disease, but my mom, you know, she has a lot of pain, you know, in her knees and in her ankles and in her feet. When she's not wearing shoes, it hurts her. I told her I would get her like shoes for inside shoes, because I don't like when people wear shoes in my house either. That's gross. But I don't want her to be in pain, so I was like, I will get you inside shoes. Happy to do it. I want you to be comfortable. I also want my floors to stay clean. It's that simple. Like if you know you have this condition, why would you not have like inside shoes for when you go over to other people's house? Why would you not have like at a minimum, right? Like the woman, she offered you grocery bags or socks and you were like, well, that's insulting. Why is that insulting? Do you know, like repair people, handy people, like the cable people, when they come into your home, they have those little cloth things that they put on their shoes. You know what I'm talking about? People do that. That's a normal thing. No, putting socks over your shoes or bags over your shoes, I don't think that's insulting at all. That's like a normal thing that maintenance people wear when they go to other people's homes. That is normal. Like, for you to make them feel bad because they're trying to keep a clean space for their child, well, this is just insulting. It's not insulting. You deciding that other people have to like bend to you not willing to like compromise, that's what's insulting. I think that's ridiculous. That like you want people to change the sanitary rules for their home, and you're not willing to like meet them in the middle and find some kind of compromise. Like, I'm sure if you said, I have these like covers, like they even did, like they were like, we'll get you bags or socks. And I know, well, it's a safety issue. How is putting a bag or a sock over your shoe any different than walking around a house in socks? How is it any different? If you're not interested in finding a compromise with any of these people, don't come crying when you stop getting invited places. Now, additionally, I don't know how extreme this confrontation was. I'm not gonna make any assumptions that it was like worse than what he's leading on. I do think it's weird that because of this disagreement, the wife just decided, okay, everyone else has to leave. We don't have any information from any other points of view or perspectives. I do additionally think it's kind of ridiculous that one person is being a Karen and you're like, all right, everyone else has to leave. I don't want to deal with this anymore. That feel like, if you're having people over and one person's just being difficult and you're like, okay, they have to go, they're not respecting the rules of the house. Yeah, that's annoying and that sucks. I get that. But like, to then kick out everybody else before the event has even started, I feel, and it's not even like your thing. Like, it's your husband's, it's the husband's thing, and she just got upset and overwhelmed. Is like, okay, everyone leave. I don't want anyone in my house. I don't love that either. I think that's over the top, and obviously, like, if it was she just gave birth recently and was still like very much in the postpartum, and I understand postpartum can last like a very, very long time, but I'm saying, like, if she just gave birth in the last few months, I would be like, not understandable. She's probably like so overwhelmed, she's still recovering. But this feels excessive, and maybe there's some moms that can let me know in the comments that I'm not giving her enough grace, because I don't know what it's like to have a 1-year-old or a baby that's crawling. I don't actually even know at what age they crawl, to be honest. So like, if I'm way off with that, y'all can let me know in the comments. I just don't know. I've never had a baby. But for now, I'm going Bad Batch. Based on like the mamas in the comments, I totally am willing to switch to just Bad Apple. I just don't know enough about that. But for now, I'm going Bad Batch. That's what it is. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for not liking children? My partner told me this morning that she sees anyone who doesn't like kids as a red flag. Okay, I guess as a mom, she obviously wouldn't want to bring any of those people into her life because she has a child. Fine with that. But she kept going on this rant saying that people who don't like kids are a danger to them and therefore should be put on the sex offenders registry so they can't hurt children. I pointed out that she'd let me be a part of her life in my 20s, and I didn't love kids at the time. Like, I didn't hate them, but I didn't want any. Most of that stemming from how my mom's first husband treated me and my fears that I would end up as him, and didn't want to ever treat a kid like that. Clearly misplaced fears and was a part of like childhood trauma, but like, point is, at the time, I didn't want or really love kids. She kept on, insisting that child abuse survivors are way more likely to abuse other kids, and therefore she didn't want them around any kids, not just her kids, any kids, until they had therapy. I guess, sure, statistics do show that, but it's not a universal pattern by any means. She continued to say that anyone who projects their past into not liking kids is inherently a danger to children and should therefore be kept away and monitored. When she realized how much she'd hurt me with her comments, she rode back a bit, but only added caveats like, well, it's depending on the reason and the learning to tolerate kids and blah, 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 all the things. I'm still stuck on the point where she said that for a good chunk of my life, She thinks I should have been on a sex offender registry simply for not knowing how to engage with children due to terrible experiences and examples from one adult 25 years ago. I don't think I or anyone else should be judged or have our freedom curtailed just because we aren't comfortable around children. But at the same time, like, I'm not a parent, I guess, not in the way that she is. I mean, of course I consider her son mine as well, but he's not, so maybe I'm missing something here. But it really upset me. Now I'm kind of freaked out. Like, am I the bad apple? That's crazy. The woman was too stunned to speak. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little mind blown by that one. I am just shocked. Yeah, I've said before that some parents like really lose it and can't deal with the fact that like their kids are not everybody else's first priority. Some people just don't want to be around kids. Do you think that everyone who goes on like adults only vacations or has adults only weddings, like should all of them be on a registry? That's crazy. Like, and I think it's so valid to say that like there is a phase in a lot of people's lives where, just like you said, you just don't know how to interact with children. Some people just, it's not innate to them, and sometimes they get over it and sometimes they don't. And both is fine. Like, there are some people that are like, oh, I never want to have kids. There are some people that are like, you couldn't pay me to teach because I couldn't be around kids like that all day. And that's fine and valid. I used to not want kids, right? I've learned that it's not that I didn't want kids, I just didn't want kids in a certain situation. Might be different now. Who knows what the future holds? But what does that mean, that I should have gone on a registry because I was like, I don't want kids for however many years of my life? No. Just because someone doesn't love being around children or someone doesn't want children doesn't make them a danger to children. In fact, I would say that sometimes there are people who love children a little too much, you know? And they're not gonna act behind some facade of, I don't like kids. That's dumb logic, in my opinion. That's dumb logic. Good apple for OP. Oh my goodness. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for making fun of a girl's body odor? I, 18 female, am from Ontario, Canada, and my cousin, 19 female, is from Florida in the United States. I'm staying with her family in Florida for a little while. We were out at midday at an outdoor restaurant, and my cousin's boyfriend, 20 male, came to meet us. My cousin definitely had a sweaty body odor, but I mean, she had a very active day. It wasn't her fault. The boyfriend kissed my cousin, and she introduced us. While we were sitting at the table, he kind of made a face. When I was looking away and they thought I didn't notice, they started whispering to each other, and though they were whispering, I could still hear them. It's not like I was that far away. I heard her very clearly say, "Oh yeah, that smell is from my cousin, but don't say anything. We don't want to make her feel bad." I snapped up because I know that body odor smell was not from me. And I said as such. Her eyes got wide and the boyfriend got his nose close to my cousin's upper body and sniffed her. He kind of chuckled and he kissed her on top of her head and said, "It's humanizing when such a beautiful woman gets a little smelly sometimes. It's fine, not a big deal." She laughed awkwardly and we continued on with our day, but later, on the ride back home, she was pissed. And she told me that I unnecessarily embarrassed her and was making fun of her because of her body odor. She said that I broke girl code and was so humiliated and couldn't believe that I was making fun of her in front of her boyfriend. I said, "I didn't make fun of you. You were just trying to blame me and I didn't want to be blamed." I don't think that's breaking girl code and I don't think that's making fun of anyone, but maybe I'm wrong. Am I the bad apple? I can see people having opinions going both ways. If I was with a good friend of mine, and I noticed that she had body odor and I didn't, and her boyfriend was around and she blamed me, would I go with it? Yeah, I'd just go with it. If it was someone who was not a good friend of mine, it depends on the situation. Like if this was someone who I had a very neutral, it just depends. It depends on the person, it depends on the tone, it depends. I think in general, unless it was someone that I had any kind of negative experiences with, I would go for it. But I also think it also depends on like who's around, right? Is it just us and her boyfriend or her crush or whatever? I'd probably just take the blame. If someone that I was trying to impress was there, I'd be like, no, no, because at that point you're just trying to embarrass me because you don't want to be embarrassed. I'll take the heat, but not when I'm trying to impress someone too. Like, that's just mean. That's just wrong. That's rude. Like, if it's like your best friend in that situation, I'd probably go crabapple for someone who would be like, no, it's you. But I know some people are gonna be like, well, it's her cousin. Well, not everyone's really close with their cousins. I think it just depends. I'm not gonna give someone bad apple for not. I'll probably go good apple for now. I could be convinced of crabapple. I can't decide if I want to go crabapple, but I could be convinced of good apple, or I could be convinced of bad apple, or sorry, crabapple. Only because, like, I don't think people in general are obligated to take that fall, but I would do it, and I would think that it's like, why does it really matter? You're visiting, you don't even live in this country. If it was like a new crush that the cousin was trying to impress, I'd just hard crabapple. Like, come on, help a girl out. Because it's her boyfriend and he was like not even caring about it, which is very sweet. That's a W for him. I'm more willing to go good apple because she didn't really cause any harm. Like, nothing unfortunate came from it except for like the cousin felt a little awkward. That was it. For me, I think the results, like the situations and the results of the outcome really determine a lot. I agree you were not making fun of her, for sure. Some people are gonna say that's girl code, some people aren't. I would do it. And even like, cause she wasn't making it like a big thing. Like, she was whispering to him like, oh, don't bring it up. Like, maybe we should just not talk about it. Cause like she was clearly aware that she smelled bad, and she was clearly self-conscious about it, and was trying to like not be embarrassed in a situation where like who cares if he thinks that you smelled bad for a day? What does that actually do to you? You don't live there, you don't see him. It's not like a defining characteristic of your personality. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, it's not fair, I just don't wanna be embarrassed. And that's fine. You have that perspective. I wouldn't care about that. We don't have to agree on whether people should or shouldn't care about that. I wouldn't care about it. You might, and that's okay. That's fine. I'll go good apple. I would do it, and I can definitely be convinced of crabapple. Like, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Good apple, I can be convinced of crabapple, for sure, for sure. All right, so I got 3 good apples and 1 bad batch. At least that's what I got. I would love to know what you guys got. If you got something similar or different, definitely let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And for your well wishes today is National Prosecco Day, and it's also National Filet Mignon Day, but it's also the day that we're gonna hear about Taylor Swift's new album, Life of a Showgirl. Because I am recording this on Wednesday, and I hope to post it on Wednesday, but we'll see. I wanted to get it out Tuesday, but I had like a really big zit on my face, and I was like, no. So, here's the thing. Some of y'all not old enough to celebrate Prosecco Day. It just is what it is. So if you are old enough, that is an option. But if not, you also have Filet Mignon Day, Taylor TS12 Day, all the options. I personally wouldn't be opposed to celebrating all of them. Having a nice little Prosecco, feasting on a filet mignon while hearing about the album. That's just me. But if I have to pick one, I am gonna go with TS12 personally, because I am a Swiftie, if you didn't know that. Big Swiftie over here. I've been looking at all the theories. I'm ready. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and hope to see you all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.